You'll be seeing people running lights and all.
Hi.
Streaming on clickorlando.com, you're watching News 6 at 10 p.m.
Breaking now at the Cape, we could see back-to-back launches for a second night in a row. Live in just minutes, what SpaceX is trying that's never been done before. Her political comeback blocked at the ballot box by voters. Why former City Commissioner Regina Hill, still awaiting trial, is now suing the woman just elected to replace her.
He's in the water. Dude, just give the f up.
He hid out in a swamp for more than 2 days trying to get away. How deputies finally tracked him down and put him in handcuffs. But we start now at 10 with breaking news. One man is dead after a police standoff at a local tattoo shop.
This is what Orlando's turning into. We're getting high crime. People are coming in.
We know officers fired shots. 2 are on leave. What's not clear, though, is who was killed and how they died. Good evening. I'm Ginger Gadsden. Thanks for joining us for News 6 at 10. Orlando police call the man who died a suspect and say they were trying to serve a search warrant. And tonight, busy Edgewater Drive is still blocked at Lee Road. That's near College Park between Rosemont and Winter Park. Your Orange County community correspondent Darrell Baker joins us live. And Darrell, it looks like it's still a pretty active scene out there tonight.
Yeah, that's right, Ginger. It is still active. You can see the roadway is still blocked and police are still here. Now, throughout the night, we have seen several police cars go and detain people and even detain some people with handcuffs as they investigate to finally get down to the bottom of what just happened here. SWAT teams and OPD officers armed to the teeth as they swarmed this shopping plaza in Orlando off of Edgewater Drive Friday afternoon.
The banging I heard on the door turned out to be 5 fire shots that went off. And the 5 fire shots apparently was let off by one of the police officers when they were serving the warrant.
Stan Levin, who owns the pawn shop in the shopping plaza, was there when it happened.
And the next thing I know, I'm looking out the door. The cops are coming down. They're saying, close the door and go inside. We're in there for about 10 minutes, and then they cleared out the building.
Orlando Police Chief Eric Smith says that they were serving a drug and weapons-related search warrant to the tattoo shop in the plaza after complaints about drug activity.
When the SWAT team showed up on scene, a person exited the back of their business with an AK-47 style rifle, and then he retreated back into business as shots were being fired.
Chief Smith says that the suspects barricaded themselves inside the tattoo shop for over an hour. Once inside, officers found a suspect dead.
Investigation involved multiple suspects with extensive criminal histories, including burglary, robbery with a firearm, possession of a weapon by a convicted felon, sex offenses, drug offenses.
Meanwhile, the officers were not injured and were placed on administrative leave.
This is what Orlando's turning into. We're getting high crime. People are coming in.
Now, I spoke with the mother of the man that died during this search warrant. Now, she says that he was 20 years old and also a father and worked at the shop for 3 years. Now, she didn't want to go on camera. However, she does feel that her son was killed unjustly. Here in Orange County, Darrell Baker, News 6.
Jarrell, thank you. Developing at 10 tonight, another sign flights are getting closer to normal at Orlando International Airport after the end of a record government shutdown. As we take a live look at MCO's air traffic control tower from our Orlando City Cam, the FAA just eased flight restrictions here and at 39 other major airports. Mandatory flight reductions are now dropping from 6% to 3% going forward. The reductions were put in place a week ago because of air traffic controller shortages during the shutdown. Now, they have been working without pay all this time. Airline executives are optimistic flying will be back to normal in time for the busy Thanksgiving travel week. New at 10 tonight, a Sumter County school employee has been arrested accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a 16-year-old student. Deputies say 26-year-old Madeline Mead was working at Wildwood Middle High School, and a concerned student tipped off school leaders about the relationship. Deputies started an investigation and removed Mead from the school. Mead is currently being held on no bond. The Sumter County School District posted a statement on social media saying, in part, quote, "Student safety is and will always be our top priority. If anyone chooses to harm or take advantage of a child, we will address it immediately and work directly with the Sheriff's Office to ensure they are held fully accountable and never work with students again." Developing now at 10, former Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill has just filed a lawsuit against her political opponent, Shan Rose. Last week, Rose defeated Hill for the District 5 City Commission seat. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest learned about the lawsuit minutes after it was filed.
In this lawsuit filed just hours ago, former Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill accuses Shan Rose's campaign of offering money and other things of value in exchange for votes. Now, Regina Hill served as Orlando District 5 Commissioner for nearly a decade until last year when she was arrested and suspended from office. Prosecutors have accused her of defrauding an elderly woman. Now, despite that pending criminal case, Hill recently ran for re-election against the woman who took over for Hill as interim city commissioner, Shaniqua Shan Rose. Rose defeated Hill in last week's election. Now, in a newly filed lawsuit, Hill is accusing Rose's campaign of offering voters, quote, free health screenings and $45 Visa gift cards in exchange for votes. Now, Hill also claims members of Rose's campaign improperly collected absentee ballots from voters at an elder care facility. I contacted Commissioner Rose shortly after this lawsuit was filed. Just minutes ago, I received an email from her. It said, quote, no comment. Now, in this lawsuit, Hill wants the city's canvassing board to set aside its certification and either order a new election or declare Hill the winner. But under the law, canvassing board cannot do that without a judge's order. No timeline's been set yet for a hearing on this lawsuit.
Nearly a week after a teen's death at sea, has people in Titusville hoping the FBI can shed more light on what happened. 18-year-old Anna Kepner was on a 6-day Carnival cruise out of Miami when something tragic happened. Kepner was a senior at Temple Christian School. Your Titusville community correspondent James Barbero is there.
A week after a teenager died on a cruise, authorities still aren't saying how Anna Kepner died. From Anna's neighborhood to her school, everyone I'm talking to is wondering, when will the FBI give this heartbroken community some answers?
What happened to this poor girl, you know?
Friday, I met neighbor Joe Souza taking a walk on Anna's street. Like many, he's following news about the death. With Miami's medical examiner putting the time of death as Friday, November the 7th, the ship she was on, the Carnival Horizon, returned to Miami the following day.
It was on a cruise ship. The girl was found dead in a room. So who knows what happened, right? The FBI is the only one that's going to find out.
Each time this week when I asked, the FBI told me it had nothing new to report. Meanwhile, Anna's car is still here at Temple Christian School.
The weather's holding the flowers up beautifully and people are still stopping by, visiting.
Parent Dana Wolf told me no one's hearing anything new on campus either.
Answers would be good because it's still been over, a week and nobody knows much other than what the newses are telling you, and that's just it was a death.
And there's a lot of rumors out there.
Absolutely. And within this time frame, there's always a little more details of something coming out about it, and they're still just keeping it as simple as possible.
Anna's celebration of life service will be Thursday next week here at the Grove Church. Until then, I'll keep asking investigators for any updates about the case. As soon as we learn any new details, we will share them with you too, right here on News 6 and ClickOrlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Titusville community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
T-minus 10. 9,
Breaking now
8,
at 10 tonight,
7,
we could be witnessing
6,
history in just
5,
moments.
4,
Let's listen into this
3,
historic launch,
2,
possibly.
1, engines full power, and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Starlink. Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Okay, so the history-making part I was talking about is SpaceX is trying to pull off something pretty bold here. What could be the closest time between two launches from the Space Coast by one company. 2 Starlink missions are on launch pads. This is a Falcon 9 at Kennedy Space Center, and we're going to see another one that could possibly launch from the Cape. And what a spectacular shot this is. All right, normally we hear a little more chatter from them right now, but this picture is really the story of the night. You're seeing a launch go off flawlessly. It looks like everything is going as planned. This is at Launch Complex 40. Oh, I'm sorry, this is at KSC. We're going to have that second launch hopefully coming up tonight, and that's the history-making part of this, which will be so spectacular. No company's ever done something like this before. We're going to keep a close eye on this and make sure that we keep you updated on ClickOrlando.com and, of course, here on air. And while double launches are very rare, this would be the second set in just 2 days. This time last night, we brought you an Atlas V launch by United Launch Alliance. And just 6 hours earlier and 4 miles away, Blue Origin made history with a picture-perfect launch of its New Glenn heavy lift rocket. Of course, we'll bring you that second launch, SpaceX, at 1:20 in the morning at clickorlando.com/space. In Volusia County, a convicted felon is still on the run tonight. He's in trouble again just 6 months after getting out of prison. Detectives have now released surveillance video. They say it shows Scott Knowlton hitting a woman and physically forcing her to come with him. A Volusia County deputy got out of his truck and jumped into action to help the woman.
I see this guy come across A1A towards her, and she attempts to run from him. And he reached out to grab her as she was nearing the sidewalk, and they both fell into the traffic lane. By the time I was able to get there, he had actually drug her into an alleyway and was forcefully dragging her towards the parking garage.
Now, deputies say Knowlton dropped a backpack and ran off, so they went to check on the woman. Knowlton is already wanted on several outstanding warrants. New charges, including kidnapping and battery, are now added to the list he faces.
He's in the water. Dude, just give the f*** up.
Also in Volusia County, deputies say they have caught a man who hid out in a swamp for more than 2 days trying to get away. They shared this body cam video of the search. Deputies say they spotted 37-year-old Earl Dory in a stolen truck on Wednesday. When they tried to arrest him, they say Dory got out of the truck and ran into De Leon Springs State Park. Investigators say he pointed a gun at them and himself. This afternoon, Volusia deputies say a sheriff's office K-9 was finally able to track him down in the swamp and catch him. They shared these pictures on Facebook of the arrest. Dory is now facing several charges. Well, of course, weather was picture perfect for tonight's first SpaceX launch, and it looks pretty good for launch number 2. Meteorologist David Nazario is in for Jonathan tonight.
Yes, that's correct. We've got a couple of cool mornings ahead of us still before we end up in above average territory as a dominant ridge comes into play. I'll have all the details coming up next.
And with Thanksgiving weeks away, now is the time when you can be an angel for one of thousands of kids, teens, and seniors. Angel Tree 2025 kicked off today. Anchor Lisa Bell tells it how it works. First, though, some changes could be on the way to your child's school after new ruling by the Department of Education. What the Phoenix Declaration is and what it means for school going forward. You're watching News 6 on a Friday night, covering Heathrow in the Atlantic and all of Central Florida. Now on News 6, a new education model is heading to your child's school, and Florida is the first state in the nation to adopt these new standards, which is coming with a bit of controversy. Alex Cook spoke to both sides about what the state is now mandating be taught.
Florida is the first state to adopt the Phoenix Declaration, a document released by the conservative think tank, the Heritage Foundation. James Evans has a son in Seminole County schools and is concerned about the new guiding principles for education heading their way.
I would genuinely feel as strong frustration as I feel today had it been a left-leaning, a progressive political think tank. These are political institutions, and we have to recognize that and the implication that comes with when we put it into the public education system.
The Phoenix Declaration, drafted by the conservative Heritage Foundation, calls for students to learn about broader Western and Judeo-Christian traditions, adding that education needs to be grounded in objective truth, free from ideological fads.
I think it's very telling that if you look at the critics of the Phoenix Declaration, all of them are basically saying the same thing. Yeah, everything in this document sounds good, but we think there's some other agenda going on. And what we think they want to do is to whitewash history. And so I want to be very clear, that is not what we want to do.
Jason Bedrick of the Heritage Foundation says education has gone too far to the left, and this is intended as a course correction.
You've been talking about history, but it also talks about science and rejecting ideological fads in favor of facts. How is the opposite happening in your view right now?
Well, I think one prominent example would be the transmute movement, which is blurring distinctions. And I mean, there are certain biological facts. Men and women are different.
For parents, the plan and how it's implemented remains to be seen.
Social morality could be very different between a Jewish family, a Christian family, a Muslim family, and a Hindu family. And every single one of those kids are in the same social studies class.
In Orlando, Alex Cook, News 6.
The Salvation Army Angel Tree program kicked off today. It connects generous donors with children and seniors who could use some extra holiday cheer. News 6 anchor Lisa Bell was at the mall at Millennia, one of the many places where you can adopt an angel.
It is a day we look forward to every year, kickoff day for the Salvation Army's Angel Tree program. I'm News 6 anchor Lisa Bell, and we are at the mall at Millennia, where there is an angel tree now prominently on display, and it will be here for the next several weeks as we work to get results for 6,000 kids and seniors in our community. Now, each tree is equipped with a tag, and on each tag you'll find your angel's name, their age, their clothing size, and what they need and are wishing for this holiday season. It is very easy to adopt an angel. You can come here to the mall at Millennia. They're also available at select Chick-fil-A stores across Central Florida, as well as online. Now, it's been so great to be out here. Earlier today, I had the chance to meet with someone who said she has been adopting an angel since she was 8 years old with her mom. And that's a tradition that began 23 years ago. Obviously, this is a family tradition for you. Why do you think it's so important for families to do something like this?
When I was a little kid, it was a really great way for me to learn about giving back and what it really means to kind of embody the spirit of Christmas. So there's a little kid out here in Orlando that's going to benefit from this. And I think that's a really cool way to teach kids about giving and receiving and being charitable and kind.
Now, she tells me she loves to adopt an angel on the kickoff day, so she has the most time to do all of her shopping. She says it really starts her holiday season. I can tell you, you can adopt an angel here at the mall at Millennia, select Chick-fil-A stores, and online. All the gifts must be returned by December 5th so that the Salvation Army elves can make sure all the magic has happened just in time for the holidays. And of course, you can find much more information on the Angel Tree program at clickorlando.com. Lisa Bell, News 6.
And you can also take out your phone and scan the QR code on your screen right now. It will take you to clickorlando.com/angeltree, where we posted ways you can adopt an angel in person and also virtually. Either way you slice it and any way you do it, you're going to feel so much better about yourself when you're able to help one of our neighbors here in Central Florida. Turning now to our forecast, meteorologist David Nazario joins us now. We are ending the week quite differently than how we started.
Big time, as a matter of fact. We went from starting off talking all kinds of freezing weather. Now we're looking at a big time warm up. It is after 10, so let's get you some headlines. We've got the last of our few chilly mornings ahead of us. Probably beginning to see more of the low 60s as we start the day as we get into next week, before we get into above average territory, all thanks to a stubborn ridge that's going to implant itself over the eastern entirety of the United States. And as a result of that, we could be fairly dry for a while. When you look at the infrared with me tonight, notice that there is a little bit of cloud cover, some low cloud off the east coast there, but a whole lot of nothing really going on as that high pressure really dominates our area. Temperatures are continuing to cool off right now. You can see low 50s the further north you go, and there's still some 60s out there. It goes to show the changing of the times here. Kissimmee at 62, Winter Haven 61, all of our Brevard County and Volusia County folks still sitting in the low 60s as well. And it's all thanks to this high pressure that's been marinating overhead over the Florida Peninsula. It's kind of been going back and forth. The peninsula, the panhandle, then back up into Georgia and Alabama. As that continues to evolve and slowly become a little bit warmer, notice our forecast lows for tonight. Upper 40s, low 50s, with some still hanging out in the 60s. Look behind me here. Brevard County may not even see the upper 50s anymore. That's how much this warming trend has really taken hand. But because of that high pressure and that ridge that's working in from the west, we're looking at a pretty spectacular weekend. You won't need the rain gear. Not too much in the way of sunblock if you plan on getting outside, but just a word of note. Before we have to get into the afternoon, we got a little bit of fog that's going to be out there, all thanks to that leftover moisture. This is our in-house model, and it's not too bullish, if you will, on the fog potential for tomorrow. But if you look at the other in-house model, we use the HRRR, this is where we could be waking up with some very dense fog up there. Marion, Alachua County, Gainesville, Ocala, trying to get back down into Lake and Sumter, a little bit of patchiness out there. And then Sunday, over the last couple of model updates, looks to be a bit more widespread with that fog that we could wake up to, spreading over the western half of our entire viewing area. Then, once the fog clears, as the sun really comes up, the UV index got bumped up a notch here. We're at a 5 moderate level, so protection is advised. It's going to be very sunny for the next several days, and if anything, maybe the rest of the month. You look at the Climate Prediction Center outlook here, and there's a lot of red. We've done a really good reversal here. Some deep shades of red there indicating well above average temperatures, and it's all thanks to this ridge. You can see it coming in, building in as we go through the week ahead. And as that ridge sets up over the eastern half of the U.S., notice how the arrows surge to the north. The warmth is also going to be surging to the north. So with that being said, let's take a look at your 7-day forecast. If you notice here, patchy AM fog for the weekend. And then if you note, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, up until next weekend, getting closer and closer to Thanksgiving, those high temperatures are going to get back into the mid-80s. You're watching News 6 at 10. We'll be right back.
I'm meteorologist Michelle Morgan. Looking for something fun to do this weekend? Well, after this week's cold snap, warmer weather is on the way just in time for a fun-filled weekend. For the first time ever, a balloon glow, drone, and laser show lights up Lake County. I spoke to the CEO, Jeremy Kowarski, about what you can expect.
Bring your own chairs and blankets, stake a spot, go enjoy all the vendors, the music. We've got a great DJ that plays literally everything that you're going to want to hear, and family friendly, of course. And that way you can kind of participate in the atmosphere of the festivalness of it, as well as get a ride on a real hot air balloon.
It starts at 5 p.m. Friday and Saturday at Willow Tree Park in Groveland. Illuminate kicks off this weekend at Aquatica from 6 to 10 p.m., featuring giant lanterns, shimmering displays, glowing walkways, and more. Tickets start at $25. Festival of Trees returns this weekend to the Orlando Museum of Art through November 23rd. Enjoy a winter wonderland, live entertainment, and Santa meet and greets from 10 a.m. through 5 p.m. Tickets are $20 for adults, $12 for kids. Astrofest at the Orlando Science Center is this weekend from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Celebrate space and astronomy with hands-on activities, films, live shows, and more. The Flapjack 5K is Saturday in Leesburg from 8 a.m. through noon, featuring a 3-mile run or walk and a pancake feast. Race entry includes a finisher medal, complimentary mimosa or Bloody Mary, and all-you-can-eat pancakes. This Saturday at 10 a.m., Ponce Inlet Historical Museum hosts Sandbox Archaeology, a hands-on dig for young explorers. Expect pleasant weather. If you have something fun happening in your town next weekend, let me know. I've been getting so many cool events from viewers just like you. Just head over to clickorlando.com or a News 6 app. Just click Contact Us.
Thank you so much for joining us for the news tonight. We'll see you back here on TV at 11 o'clock. Have a good night, everybody.